So you see all this stuff online about being a digital nomad, being a freelance designer, being a design founder, living life on your own terms, and traveling and seeing the world. But is it really all it's cracked out to be? In this video, I want to touch on uncomfortable truths that they don't tell you about being a digital nomad and design freelancer, so you can make the decision for yourself about whether you should do it or not. So I think the first realization that I ever had doing this whole thing is just finding a good rhythm for work, for gym, for meals, all that good stuff that normally is just kind of on autopilot when you're back at home and in a normal, day-to-day. Here, it's very different because when you are hopping from place to place, you have to work really late into the night to make a meeting. You wake up super early, then you have to catch up on sleep. And so it's just really hard to keep a consistent schedule when you're bouncing around so much. Time zone shifts, things happen. And I don't think I realized how challenging that was going to be until I got into actually doing it. And which brings us to the next uncomfortable truth, which is this is not going to be growth time for your business. Why do I say this? Well, for example, for myself, there is a lot of mental time, energy, and stress when it comes to picking new Airbnbs and figuring out what coffee shops and things you want to go work from, seeing if there's a good, comfortable place to spend 5 hours in a day working, or whether you're going to be just there sweating all day and not actually be able to focus on your work. That does take up a lot of energy. It doesn't seem like it does, but 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours of micro decisions that you have to make while you're traveling and being a nomad that take up so much of your mental energy that you otherwise would be spending on your business to grow it. Like for me, I expected going into this year that I was going to be super effective, that my business was going to grow, that I was going to do great on all social channels, that Ralee was going to be this exponential growth chart up to the right, that I was going to lock in on my fitness and all my goals and all this kind of stuff. And the reality is, it's kind of been the opposite. I've really struggled with working on what I'm supposed to be working on every single day, and it's made it much more stressful than I think I ever anticipated. And I wish somebody would have told me that going into this, that this time in life of being a nomad, seeing some of the things in the world, was actually going to be a time where your business in a way takes a back seat. And that's just something that was so surprising to me. I thought the exact opposite. I think social media portrays it to make it think that when you are traveling and seeing all these great things and doing all of this stuff, that your business is just going to go along with it. And the harsh reality is that it's quite the opposite. I've talked with other freelancers, other design founders, and people in the space, and a lot of them say, yeah, your business goes into this, what you call maintenance mode, if you will, where you're just doing the bare minimum to keep moving things forward, making sure the wheels don't fall off, but you're not making any massive gains in terms of business progress, in terms of growth. And it's just one of the things, you take it like a grain of salt and you do one day at a time, and some progress is better than no progress. Which brings me to point number 3, is health and fitness has actually become more challenging than it ever has in my life. With this traveling thing, it makes it really challenging to get in the small things like hitting your protein goal every single day or getting a really solid workout in, just because you have so many moving parts. And in different locations across the world, like different places, they have different kinds of food, obviously. So like what I've noticed here in Indonesia is the portions of protein are significantly lower, which makes it a lot harder to hit your daily protein goals and to just have more shape to your body. Probably not super prevalent to a lot of people in maybe the tech industry who maybe their top priority is not getting protein. It's probably more of a fitness kind of industry thing. But for me, it's important for my health and well-being to try to stay on top of that. And traveling, it is obviously not the most optimal thing to hit all that. Like one country may have really protein heavy and the next one might have very light protein and high carbohydrates, and it just makes it really challenging, which kind of stems to other parts of mental health for me personally. So I feel like when I don't stay on top of my health, my food, my working out, I tend to be in a mentally worse space, and that's something that I have been battling a lot when traveling. Next up, we have pretty much the inverse of what we just talked about earlier, which is if you do want to switch and focus on growth, then something has to give. And that usually is going to come at the sacrifice of seeing the things that you want to see. I think as a digital nomad and as a design founder, part of the reason I am traveling is to be able to go see things, see parts of the world that I've never seen, and to just explore and experience life. But if I really want to focus and lock in on my business, I'm going to have to sacrifice other areas of the adventures, right? I can't be 6, 7, 8 hours behind the laptop every single day, but also go see everything that I want to see. So I have to make those trade-offs. You can't have both sides of the equation. You can't see everything that you want to see, but also be able to grow your business and persist forward. And then the last one on the list here is for sure time zones. I'm in Asia right now, and it is very, very, very tricky to coordinate getting user feedback and to have client calls when there's a small pocket of between the US and Asia. You got a couple hours in the morning, maybe 1 hour in the evening or 2 hours before you want to go to bed, unless you're staying up super late and getting up super early and only having a few hours of sleep in the middle of the night. And that's something that's just probably not talked about enough. I think you can do a lot of asynchronous stuff, but depending on you as a designer, you as a founder, it is tough to have meetings. With that, I've also tried to be doing more content and share like LinkedIn Lives, and that's really tough because not only do you have to be live and on a call, you have to try to coordinate with somebody in Rome, somebody in Asia, somebody in the US, and try to do multiple different time zones at the same time is pretty much impossible. So that's a really tricky one, and one that probably people don't talk about enough. And I think one of the other nuanced differences on this is that if you are a designer and trying to score client work while you are traveling, a lot of US companies are pretty hesitant to just work with people traveling or being a digital nomad because their kind of perception, expectation around working with somebody that is traveling is that they're not going to be able to get a hold of them, they're not going to do as quality work, and there is just kind of this omnious thing about remote work while traveling in another country. And so if you don't have some clients locked up, if you don't have work already going on, it may significantly be more challenging for you to actually score that while you're traveling, which is not something I thought about going into this, but you learn a lot and you just keep on persisting forward. So I'm here editing the video, realized I did not close off the video or film an ending, so I just wanted to say like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I hope you got some value out of this video, and we'll see you next week.